Hello, virtuous thought leaders, scholars, and virtue change agents. My name is Dr. Lisa Marie Portugal, and I am the Leadership Architect. I'd like to welcome you today to another talk that I have prepared for you and in service to you and your goals. This talk is called Charismatic versus Transformational Leaders and How They Influence Followers. It is a part 2, a continuation from the talk previous to this one, and it comes out of one of my many books called A Culture of Excellence: Virtuous Leadership Principles for Organizational Success, a Management System. And the cover slide there is also the cover of the book, The 4 Cardinal Virtues: Prudence, Justice, Fortitude, and Temperance. We cannot achieve greatness or magnanimity unless and until we master the virtues within ourselves. Reaching greatness or magnanimity is about virtue building within ourselves, our families, communities, and others. We cannot achieve magnanimity until fortitude, self-control, counsel, justice, prudence, understanding, respect for others, temperance, humility, charity, piety, and courage are present first within us. We cannot give to others what we do not possess ourselves. So understanding how to master ourselves and build virtue is the first, ongoing, and last step required for magnanimity. And mastering the virtues is a lifelong and ongoing process throughout our entire lives. When we fall, pick yourself up and start the practice of virtue building again, and do this throughout your entire life. Magnanimity is an ongoing process and a focus we should have throughout our lives. It is also a focus we should have for working with, mentoring, and coaching others to their greatness. We can build virtue within ourselves and help others in our sphere of influence to achieve greatness in their own lives by teaching the virtues and living the virtues in everything we do. I'd like to invite you today and every day to live virtuously. Okay, here is my table of contents about Dr. Portugal. Feelings of empowerment. Root causes of managerial derailment, managerial incompetence, and bad leadership. Experiential learning opportunities. And then in closing, a question to ask yourself. Okay, there is my About page, and we're going to start off also with the question for you to think about throughout these talks. What is your leadership brand? All right, so let's look at feelings of empowerment. Charismatic leaders express confidence in their abilities, set heightened expectations, and provide continuous support and encouragement. Interestingly, followers of these leaders tend to feel more powerful and stronger while they are willing to subordinate themselves to someone else. Their empowered feelings in combination with intensified emotions for the leader's vision can produce positive team, group, or organizational change. Both charismatic and transformational leaders tend to share strong personal connections with those who follow them, regardless of whether the leader holds a formal or hierarchical role within an organization. So what's interesting about both of these leadership types, charismatic and transformational, is that if you get buy-in and followership, you don't necessarily have to hold a formal or hierarchical role. Okay, let's move on to the next slide. Followers of both charismatic and transformational leaders tend to have evident feelings of empowerment because of a personalized leadership approach that these leaders exhibit. And I like that statement because that's what we all want to have, is a personalized leadership approach where we can reach followers where they are at and help raise them up in a variety of different ways. As you know, with my leadership style being virtuous leadership first, I do like transformational second, but is to raise up their skills and abilities to help them become leaders themselves. So charismatic leaders tend to be gifted at noticing social cues. In addition, they tend to use emotionally expressive nonverbal cues, such as facial expressions, tone of voice, gestures, movement, posture, and eye contact to influence others. So as we go through the differences between these two leadership types, you're going to start noticing that charismatic leaders are very big on their audible presentation and their physical presentation, which is why they're going to use these nonverbal cues. Transformational leaders choose to empower others by providing opportunities and tasks, leading to elevated self-confidence in followers. Moreover, charismatic and transformational leaders create environments with positive emotions and high expectations. So the differences again between the two: charismatic, they want to get your attention and buy-in and followership through kind of manipulating your emotions, I guess you could say. That's why these nonverbal cues are very important to them. And also through the power of their speech. So they use emotion, whereas transformational leaders are going to use logic and reason, and they want to get your attention and followership and buy-in based upon the content of information they're giving you, what they're delivering to you. Okay, so now let's take a look. We're still continuing on. Transformational leaders tend to connect on an intellectual level and demonstrate compelling and logical reasons to follow. And if you've been following me for some time, you'll notice that I do tend to be more on the transformational side, and I hope I'm compelling and giving you logical reasons, right? But again, as leaders, we still want to influence people emotionally as well. We just don't want to manipulate their emotions. And I'm sure if you look around in society today, people who manipulate the emotions of others, that's very common. I know we see that all the time on TV and with the news, and in various areas. We see that with people in politics. They're going to want to use emotions and nonverbal cues for the content of their message rather than an intellectual level of reaching people. So charismatic leaders connect with followers emotionally and present emotional and passionate performances. So as you can see, it's more about theatrics on the charismatic side. The depth and breadth of many change agendas can be vastly different. Effective leaders can use empowerment, delegation, mentoring, coaching, or goal-setting skills to energetically change the skills and behaviors of followers or employees. So they're going to employ different tactics to get buy-in. In addition, leaders need to develop their values, creativity, problem solving, and intellectual skills to comprehend what is essential and formulate answers to the difficulties facing their group, teams, or organizations they are empowered to lead. So people look to leaders as someone who can be a problem solver, who can fix what's problematic either in the institution or within society or our nation. To do this, leaders must use their knowledge of group dynamics and motivational techniques, planning and coaching skills, personality traits, and influence and power to drive effective change. All right, so now let's take a look at a graphic here. The root causes of managerial derailment, managerial incompetence, and even bad leadership. These are the different leadership types on the left, and in the middle we'll see what derails them as far as management challenges, and then what are the root causes of that derailment. So figureheads, these are people that can move up, right, and may not be prepared, so they have inadequate preparation for promotion. They're just there as a figurehead. A cause of derailment, poor followership. They never got the buy-in from the people who they're leading. They may have a dark side personality trait or traits. Cheerleaders, they have an inability to adapt. They may lack intelligence. They may lack technical expertise or team building know-how. So we have to have these types of skills to be successful. Then we have the masters. They have an inability to build relationships. So these people are focused on the task, but they're not going to get much buy-in, and they don't know how to build relationships with people. They may lack situational or self-awareness. So this is where virtue building is important to us as leaders and managers. We need to have self-awareness. What are our deficiencies? What are our weaknesses that we can work on, virtue build, and turn those around into successes and our strengths, right? And then also, we can't lack a situational awareness skill, because we need to know who's in front of us, what is the situation, what do they need, what is the task at hand, how can we deliver and coach and mentor appropriately according to the people that we're leading. Okay, the next leadership type is a competent manager. They may have an inability to build and lead teams. So they may be competent in managing people, but they lack some of these skills here. And they may also have a lack of organizational fit. Maybe they just don't fit with the organization that they're in, which is why I always say it's a good idea to experiment with yourself and your career, try on some different areas, some different hats, see where you fit, see which organization models your similar virtues and values, things that are important to you. All right, the last one is destructive leadership. They may have a failure to meet the business objectives of the organization, and their root cause of derailment, they may have situational and follower factors challenges there as well. Okay, so let's talk about experiential learning opportunities. To be successful in a leadership role, individuals need to have the ability to successfully construct teams and achieve objectives through others. Having the ability to accomplish these two target areas can be quite difficult in a pluralistic society with vastly different cultures from all over the world, such as the situation we have here in the United States. Moreover, there are many ways that leaders can fail, and oftentimes many individuals are not notably effective leaders. Leadership researchers posit that improvements in leadership effectiveness may be more likely to originate from individuals who are mindful about progressing through experiential learning opportunities in 3 phases, such as approach, action, and reflection. Learning to be an effective leader is an ongoing process, and you can pat yourself on the back if you're listening to any of my lectures, because that's what you're doing today. You're educating yourself so that you can hone the skills that you have and become a better leader of others. Furthermore, leadership competencies can be cultivated over time so that leaders have opportunities to continue to hone their skills. Although much is known and written about in the literature regarding skills, predictors, concepts, behaviors, and leadership theories, little is known about how to help individuals learn from their challenging experiences when in leadership roles. Some researchers posit that leadership development can take place through a facilitation process of deliberate experiential learning opportunities. By a systematic process designed to help leaders to set goals and move through actions and deliberate reflection phases, individuals can learn through a more open-minded approach. Now, questions to ask yourself. Leadership researchers have found that learning experiences can be more influential when individuals learn from and reflect on their difficult experiences. If they possess cognitive ability, if they have emotional stability, if they have an openness to the experience, and if they have high conscientiousness. So these are areas that we need to build our skills in, and if you have a deficiency in any of these areas, we can work on those through virtue building. These findings suggest that individuals lacking indispensable degrees of these types of dispositions that I just mentioned may learn less from experience-based leadership development agendas based upon the relative stability of cognitive and personality ability. So basically what the researchers are saying is we need to have an abundance of those domains that I mentioned. We need to be able to reflect on difficult experiences. That's important. And all of these that I have listed here in the bullet points. So like I said, if we have any difficulties or challenges in these areas, we can work on that ourselves internally and externally through virtue building so that we can build those skills and become better leaders and managers of others. Given that some mindsets can be readily changed and induced, researchers posit that influencing leaders' mindsets with mindset cues may have the ability to impact their behaviors, feelings, and thoughts in ways that either impede or help their leadership growth. And that statement I wrote specifically because it has a lot of merit. That's what I'm doing for you. In this talk and all of my other talks, I'm giving you mindset cues. I'm developing mind maps for you that you can contemplate on and think about this new content so that you can develop your own leadership brand and style. So that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm giving you the mindset clues and a roadmap, a mind roadmap to help progress your leadership skills. All right, so let's look at this question here. Examine what virtues you need to build in yourself to become the effective leader you want to be. So I will give you an example from myself. A skill that I want to develop further is my speaking ability, right? Having the ability to reach you both on an intellectual level as well as an emotional level, helping you to come to an understanding about yourself and where you might grow as a leader. So that's something that I want to work on. So just think about these questions and reflect on these ideas and think about where you as well as I can grow in virtue as I open up every talk with all of the different virtues listed. What are virtues that we can work on a daily basis? Okay, so here is the reference slide. I want to thank you so much for joining me today. And again, I want to appreciate you for having the mindset that you want to learn and grow your leadership skills. I hope that you will be the leader that you want to be, and hopefully these talks will help you do that. It is always my pleasure and honor to serve you. God bless you.